Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. We got some great news at practice yesterday. Rashod Bateman is back, baby. Let's go. We've been waiting on his return for a while now. We haven't seen him on the football field since early last season, so it was incredible to see him back out there. He only went through individual drills, so I'm sure there's just a ramp-up process to get him back into working with the full offense, so I'm sure that'll be coming soon. But just the fact that he's back on the field, and we're that much closer to seeing Bateman toss back into this offense with Lamar throwing to him and OBJ and Zay Flowers and Andrews. And then I know J.K. Dobbins is just around the corner from coming back, so this offense is almost fully loaded. I couldn't be more excited. Only small injury that happened yesterday was Gus Edwards stopped practice about halfway through and walked off under his own power. The reporters said they didn't see a limp or anything, so it seems like he's okay, but John Harbaugh didn't do a press conference yesterday. He's actually doing one today, so I'm sure they'll ask him about that, but we don't have an update on Gus Edwards at the moment, but it doesn't seem to be anything serious, so hopefully not. And then the usual absences are still out. Pepe Williams, Trenton Simpson, Rock Ya-Sin, Arthur Mollett, and Geno Stone still not practicing. Basically our whole secondary depth. So we need a corner. I'll still keep yelling it. And there's not many available in free agency anymore. So it's looking like we're going to have to trade. Usually the trades come during this season. And so I could see us rolling with what we have, maybe making a smaller signing, like an Arthur Mollett type signing, just a depth guy that they try out just to bring in as competition in training camp and preseason. But I think what's going to end up happening during the regular season is we're going to have to pull the trigger on a trade. I just don't think we have nearly enough depth or experience at cornerback heading into the season, especially when a lot of these guys are already banged up. But we'll see. I do trust in Eric DeCosta. He obviously sees this problem, and I think he'll be aggressive in fixing it. He usually is. Speaking of being aggressive, the offer is officially in per Josina Anderson for Jadeveon Clowney. The Ravens have put an offer in, and he's just thinking it over. So I think that's a great sign to get him. I think that moves things forward drastically. We didn't hear that with Kyle Van Noy. We never heard the Ravens put an offer in. All we saw from Kyle Van Noy like the next day was, I'm at home easily passing that Ravens conditioning test. He tweeted that out the next day. But other than that, we haven't heard anything about the Kyle Van Noy outside of us fans and reporters talking about it. So the fact that Josina Anderson confirmed the Ravens have officially put an offer in for Jadeveon Clowney obviously says that we want him. And I'm not sure what that number is. If he's thinking about it, then it's probably not exactly what he wanted, but I'm sure it's a competitive offer. We usually don't offer something to someone if we're not going to give them what we think is fair market value for them. And maybe he has some other offers we don't know about that he just wants to mull over before he makes a decision, or maybe he's just trying to buy some more time because he doesn't really want to go through the dog days in training camp right now. A lot of veterans seem to do that. They want to wait until the end of training camp to sign so that they miss a big portion of it, which I guess I understand if you've been through 10 training camps before. So I understand thinking the offer over, but hopefully it doesn't take too long. We don't want our cap dollars kind of tied up waiting for him to make a decision. If he drags this out over weeks, we could potentially miss out on someone else that we have our eye on. Training camp only has a few weeks left. The regular season's going to be here before we know it. So these players are going to have to sign and make decisions. So I can't imagine that he drags us out much more than a few days. Hopefully we hear something today. I think it's a really good sign that we have an offer in. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what his other offers are, but outside of maybe a little bit more money, this has to be the best situation that he could come into, right? We have a really, really competitive team. He can kind of stick it back to the Browns, who I know he wasn't happy with and didn't have a great run with. A lot of Browns fans have been complaining about his play. But I think we just use him as a rotational guy, and someone with his talent, he's going to come in fresh and make some plays. And he's also an incredible run defender regardless of whether he gets to the passer or not. So we could use that. And I know we could situationally use his rush as well. So I'm all for bringing him in. And I'm sure it's a one-year deal, and it's probably not an astronomical amount of money. And even being on a one-year deal at this point, I don't care. We don't really need to save a ton of cap dollars. If we need a few more dollars, we can restructure a contract here and there. At this point in the season, we pretty much have our roster filled out. And our cap is mainly spent, as is most teams. So you don't really care about one-year deals because it's kind of risk-free at this point. Now, if it's a multi-year commitment, then that's a little different. Obviously, we have cap to think about in the future and whether that value for that player is going to work out or not. But if it's a one-year deal and we don't have a lot of dead money coming through void years or anything like that, stack as many guys as you can on a one-year deal. Like, our roster's filled out. If it doesn't work out, he's a free agent again next year. So I think it's worth bringing him in. The Ravens obviously think it's worth bringing it in. They've submitted an offer. So the countdown's here. We're just waiting to hear if Jadeveon Clowney accepts the offer or not, or counters the offer or whatever. But hopefully we get some news soon that Jadeveon Clowney's a Raven. Defense was the story of training camp practice yesterday, how physical it was. We got some clips of Roquan and Patrick Queen making some tackles, making some pass breakups. Marcus Williams coming in making a pass breakup. And you love to see it. All the reports are saying this defense looks like the best defense in the league out there. And that Roquan is just like the nucleus to this defense. And we saw that last year when he came in. I am just so happy that we got him, especially for a second-round pick. Like, at the time, it felt like that was a fair price for him at the time. And then we saw what he brought to Baltimore, and I was like, this dude's worth like 2 firsts. You know what I mean? Linebacker or not. A lot of other teams devalue the middle linebacker position a little bit now, but like not us. And clearly the impact that he had on the entire defensive unit shows that. A second-round pick was a steal for Roquan Smith. I'm glad we locked him up for 5 more years. He is the nucleus of this defense. He's the leader of the defense, if not the co-leader of the defense with Marlon Humphrey. Roquan is everything you dream of in a linebacker or just in a defensive player, right? Like, he has that dog mentality. He's just physical. He's always around the ball. He's a sure tackler, and he just knows football. His football IQ is through the roof. But this defense is special. Just got to sure up that cornerback depth a little bit. I'm still concerned about that. I think that can unravel as the season goes a little bit. But regardless, our defense looks incredible. Offense didn't have a terrible day either. They did red zone drills. There was a breakdown on Baltimore Beatdown by Kyle that broke down like one sequence of the first team offense going against the first team defense, and Lamar threw a deep shot to Odell, who was covered by Jalen Armour-Davis. Jalen Armour-Davis got a PI against Odell, so they went to the 1-yard line, tried to run twice, got stuffed. Broderick Washington made a play, and then Lamar had 2 incompletions, so they actually went for it 3 straight times on the 1-yard line and couldn't get in. Just run the ball. If that situation comes up on the regular season, and I'm sure it will, 1st and 1 on the goal line, I don't think that I can deal with a 4 and out. So I say we just power run that thing 4 straight times up the middle with Gus Edwards or J.K. Dobbins. We're bound to get in. That pretty much recaps yesterday's practice, and we have another practice today. This might be the final practice today just because there's a game on Saturday, so I don't know if they'll practice tomorrow. I will be dropping a preseason preview tomorrow with a giveaway. It'll be the first one that we've done like this, and I'm going to do this every week for the rest of the season. I've been mentioning it throughout this week. If you watch the end of the videos, I'm not sure how many of you even watch. Comment if you're still watching at the end of the videos. But I will be doing a giveaway with the episode, and you guys can make some money. There's nothing that you have to do at all. Just comment your answer. And yeah, we're getting Ravens football Saturday. Let's go. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in to an episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.